Back with the Fox News Alert. A U.S.-led coalition overnight striking at least 60 targets at 16 different Houthi military sites in Yemen. A retaliatory response to the more than 100 attacks on U.S. forces by the Iran-backed group. All of this comes as our own defense secretary, still in the hospital, providing this statement on the strike, saying this: the coalition action sends a clear message to the Houthis that they will bear further costs if they do not end their illegal attacks. Here to react, Fox News senior strategic analyst, retired four-star General Jack Keane. General, can you describe the quality or the magnitude of this attack?
Well, this is the most comprehensive attack that we've conducted, since the war in Gaza began. It really quite significant in terms of what they went after. 60 targets, as you mentioned, 16 locations, over 100 precision-guided munitions delivered by air, surface, and subsurface capabilities. And they went after things that we were talking about, not that they're listening to us, but it was comprehensive. Command and control nodes, radar systems, the launch systems themselves, the storage sites for the rockets, missiles, and the drones, and the munitions depots. They're going through bomb damage assessment now to determine how effective this was. They were likely tracking that the Houthis were trying to hide some of this capability for the last few days, but we've got excellent surveillance there, and likely we were able to determine where they were moving a lot of this. They'll finish the assessment. Believe me, I think if there's capability there that's still significant, we should reattack. And then we got to remind ourselves what's really happening here. The center of gravity for the aggression in the Middle East that we're experiencing is Iran. We have said this time and time and time again. And to deter the proxies themselves by hitting them will not be sufficient. We have got to go after Iran. They are, as I mentioned, the center of gravity. CENTCOM has a table of targets that they have provided to the administration and how to go about doing that comprehensively to shut down their support for these proxies. That has got to be high on our list. And what that really means, Brian, is we've got to reset the strategy in dealing with Iran in the region and admit the fact that this thing has failed. When they came in, they removed the Trump sanctions. Iran's flush with oil money now as a result of it. They went after the nuclear deal. That failed. They were unwilling to confront Iran. They believed that the previous administration's use of the military was too muscular, and we had to make a major diplomatic effort. Well, the diplomatic effort with Iran has gotten us nowhere. It's shown us weakness. They see it as vulnerability and opportunity, and they've taken advantage of it. I don't think the Biden administration has to announce they're resetting the failed strategy, but let's just start moving in the right direction with the Arab nations and Israel to confront Iran.
Remember, Saudi Arabia, you've always told me, General, has been dealing with for years. And not only did they not get any support, the Houthis got removed from the terror list, and the Saudis were told they were a pariah nation. Things were backwards. They're not happy because they finally got a ceasefire, it seems, with the Houthis. Now I'm getting this report that the Houthis got a 2-hour heads up that they, in the UK reporters put out there 2 hours before the attack that it was going to take place. How does that affect the effectiveness of an operation?
I think the Houthis knew for days that an attack was likely. They could see the change in the tenor of the United States public statements and disclosures, and they were likely taking those actions. But this is one of the reasons why we try to conduct these operations in secret and don't have disclosure. After all, we're not conducting an attack against an unprovoked capability here. The Houthis have been attacking us for weeks, so we have every right to attack them, and we don't have to go all around the Congress and everybody else giving them notice of this beforehand, because there's a likelihood that something could slip out. And I think the senior members of the Congress certainly understand that. If we were starting a war, that's another matter. That's not what we're doing. We're conducting an attack against a force that's been attacking us.
And, General, we know this, too. That wasn't the only place Iran was busy. There was 11 attacks from Hezbollah on Iran and northern Israel. And the Islamic resistance in Iraq claimed a rocket attack targeting U.S. forces over in Syria.
Yeah, this is still going on, obviously. Listen, Hezbollah is attacking into northern Israel. 80,000 Israelis have been displaced. I know for a fact that the Israeli government is pondering, should they take offensive action against Hezbollah in Lebanon? Not defensive action, but should they take aggressive action and expand the war over the 80,000 displaced Israelis? My personal view is I think that would be a mistake. I don't think we should expand that war. Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, is limiting his attacks on northern Israel. He has the capability to attack every town and every city writ large in Israel with over 130,000 rockets and missiles. He's choosing not to do that. I understand the frustration that the Israelis feel about their displaced citizens. But if we end this war in Hamas the way the IDF and the Prime Minister want to do that, that will be a huge step in the right direction. We have got to return to deterrence in the Middle East. That's a fact. And we can do that with the IDF and Hamas, and we can do it by certainly going, as I mentioned, to the center of gravity, which is Iran. Not just with a kinetic attack, which I think is prudent, but also with, let's double down on the sanctions. Let's get the Arabs and the Israelis together with us and really working out a plan on how to deal with the Iranians long term.
All right, General, thanks so much for scrambling for us and get us the latest information on the attack that took place hours ago. Appreciate it. General Jack Keane, thank you.
Yeah, great talking to you guys. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.